Well, the news is out, and I just got the text that it's not just a 6-game suspension, but also a recommendation from Judge Sue L. Robinson of no fine, no monetary penalty on top of it, just the 6-game suspension. Obviously, he'll lose the pay for those games, but remember, his salary for this year is the league minimum of $1.015 million for a player of his experience. So the financial loss, not nearly as great as it could have been, but it's all subject to the appeal. So, to reset. Word has gotten out, and again, I've gotten the text that it's a 6-game suspension recommended by, decided by Judge Robinson, subject to appeal to the commissioner or his designee. The union has already said that they'll stand by her decision. I would assume that 6 games is short enough to get the union to say, yeah, we meant what we said. We will stand by her decision. The question is, in the next 3 days, will the NFL exercise its prerogative to appeal to the commissioner? There's no deference. There's no standard that gives her decision any special weight. He can just go in with the evidence as she determined it to be, the facts that she found, and that's why her written ruling is going to be so important. And the commissioner can say, well, you said 6, I think 16, or whatever number he chooses. And again, it was the league that was pushing for 17 minimum, and the league is run by Roger Goodell. Unless it was a ploy to get her to go all the way up to 6, right? You ask for a lot, and you are happy with whatever middle ground you get. Unless it was a ploy, if he really wants 17, he has an easy way to get 17. I tell my people to appeal to me, and then my appeal decision is 17 games.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the first thing I'd say is it's somewhat of a victory for Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns. I think to this first suspension, what we're hearing, 6 games. I do. I mean, that's big time. That is. And my second thought is just the fact that I just don't think there's any way the NFL is going to let it go 6 games. I'm expecting to hear them up it to some degree, whether that's 8 or 10 games. I think it will look a little egregious and unfair if they went the full season. But I have a hard time, again, where I think, I don't know. I'll be interested to see where the backlash is today. I just feel like, again, reading the tea leaves over the last few months, all of that, it seemed like friends, people I know, the majority of people seem disgusted with Deshaun Watson to a degree, to where I would think we see big backlash on social media today. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But either way, I think this first, what we're hearing today is a win for Watson and the Browns for sure.
At the team's first open training camp of this year's preseason, Mary Kay Cabot pointed out that it was a very happy and positive reaction to Deshaun Watson. But, either the people who are inclined to be upset aren't showing up, or when they're there, you're in a group and everybody's cheering and you don't want to be the jerk. It's a tough spot to be in. Yes, there's a certain amount of anonymity if you want to boo when you're in a crowd, but you're in a crowd that's wired to be happy. And if you start booing or making noises that would express displeasure, that's when others are going to turn to you and say, what the hell are you doing? Why are you even here? So I don't know that means anything.
Right.
I think there are a lot of Browns fans that weren't happy with what the Browns did. I don't think it's something that just goes away with the passage of time. And again, the vibe that's been emerging over the past month, fueled by what happened during that 3-day hearing, that was the 4th of July week. How many people were really paying attention? How many people who had a pre-existing notion of what should happen to Deshaun Watson were even in a position to notice what the reporting was that week? I think there's going to be a lot of people out there who, when they hear about this, they're going to be upset. And the NFL is going to pay attention to it, and the NFL is going to make its decisions accordingly. It's got 3 days to see which way the wind's blowing. It's got 3 days to read the columns that are written by people who are either supporting the decision or opposing the decision, and tying the decision back to the league, or calling on the league to take advantage of its opportunity to appeal the decision to the league itself. Goodell, it's just amazing. Goodell gives the order to one of his underlings to appeal the decision to Goodell. And what did Goodell want all along? He wanted 17 games. So if they really want to do it, they can. And I think their decision is going to be driven by how loudly people react to the decision to suspend him 6 games with no fine on top of it.
Well, yeah. I think the one thing that I feel good about is that the full season suspension's out the door. I'll be shocked if that happens. It's almost going to look the reverse the other way, I think, if they're too harsh on Deshaun Watson now.
You think it's 12? How about 12?
I could see 10 or 12 being thrown out there by the NFL. I could see Roger Goodell going that way. Yes, that I could see. But I don't think it's going to be anything more than that. In fact, I have a hard time thinking it'll be more than 10 really right now, just off of first original thought with it being thrown out there at 6. I think, again, you're going to have the conversation that, hey, he missed all of football last year. I know he was paid still, all of that. But, yeah, that's where I'll be interested in. And then, I think the other thing I just look at is go, man, first 6 games, okay. Now the Browns can kind of somewhat formulate a plan here. The team can start looking at it and go, oh, man, if we can just get through that first 6 games, 3-3, 4-2, give ourselves a fighting chance for when Watson gets back, watch out. We know their team is really good, so that's got to excite Cleveland for sure. But, yeah, the Goodell, him calling the other power player owners and seeing where they go, that's all going to be figured out here in the next 48 hours, and I'll be interested. But I'm going to say they try to get 10 or something like that on him, Mike.
There's something else he can do, and I've suggested this in the past as a potential settlement. What he could do with the final decision here on appeal, he could say 6 for this year plus a $10 million fine. Deshaun Watson forfeits every penny he made last year. We're going to treat last year as an unpaid suspension because it essentially was paid leave. And I know people say, oh, he didn't play last year because he didn't want to play, and the Texans didn't want to play him, and the Texans were trying to trade him. They couldn't do a trade. They couldn't do a trade because of the off-field issue. If the off-field issue isn't there, he's traded to the Dolphins probably by Labor Day weekend. The off-field issue kept him from playing last year. So I thought of this when I was looking at the personal conduct policy 5-6 weeks ago, and it occurred to me that when a guy is put on the commissioner exempt list, and if he does spend, for example, a year on paid leave, if he's ultimately suspended without pay, he gets credit for the games he missed. He just has to give back the money that he made in those games. So that's easy. $10 million fine and a 6-game suspension. That to me is a way, and I mean, Deshaun Watson may strenuously object to the idea that he's going to pay $10 million back, but that's a way to respect Judge Robinson's decision while also creating the impression that the league was sufficiently aggressive with Deshaun Watson. And here's the other side of it too, Chris, and here's how the settlements factor into this. With only one case left, and I'm going to assume, I don't know this, but I'm going to assume that, and this goes back to the Texans settling with 30 people who had claims that were derivative of the claims against Deshaun Watson. I'm going to assume that the 6 who didn't sue have cut a deal with Deshaun Watson to not sue him, and it's all secret, and no one's going to tell us about it. But they would have filed by now. One of them would have filed by now. I'm just going to assume that this is it. There's one case left. But my point is this. The NFL wanted indefinite suspension of at least 1 year because they're afraid of what else may happen. They settle this one last case, and nothing else is going to happen.
Right.
It's over.
Right.
It's done.
Right.
They don't have to worry about getting embarrassed by a trial or 24 trials or 30 trials. So I just, again, public reaction is going to be key here. And then the league has to decide, do we appeal? And if we appeal, what decision do we do to put out this fire that could remind the commissioner of what happened when he was under siege in 2014 because of Ray Rice? We can't forget that.
So what's your thought? What do you think? What do you think public reaction is going to be today? What do you think?
It's going to be negative.
Yeah.
It's going to be negative. It's going to be negative, and it's going to be loud because people have not been paying attention like we have. People have not been studying this every news cycle, hanging on every development. I mean, that's what we do. That's why we're here. We're here to cover the story. But I know what the traffic is in July. People are doing other things. They're on vacation. They're with their families. They're not plugged in. They're not inclined to understand the nuances. They've made their decision. I mean, we live in a country where people make their decisions. They refuse to ever change their mind. Do you think that Judge Robinson's decision is going to change someone's mind who already believes he should be suspended for a whole year? You're assuming a level of reasonableness and rationality that doesn't exist in this country currently.
Yeah.
So I expect it to be a very loud negative reaction.
Yeah, I guess I'm with you there too. I do too. You're right. And I think the fact that, people, have been a little bit out of the football sports world over the last 5 or 6 weeks is going to add to the shock value today. Yeah, for sure. But, base value, yeah, I think it's a positive for the Browns and Deshaun Watson. They can move on, do all that. But, yeah, Roger.
Not yet.
Roger,
Not yet.
yeah, that's right.
They
Roger
can't.
can convene still, and then you don't know where that's going to go. So, yeah, it's an early victory, but not a victory yet in totality. You're right.
So the deadline for filing the appeal by the league to the league will be Thursday, and we'll be in Canton getting ready for the Hall of Fame game. And I suspect if they're going to appeal, on one hand, you kind of want to see how everybody reacts to it before you make a final decision, take full advantage of the 3 days. On the other hand, do you really want that to be an issue? You're playing the Hall of Fame game just down the road from Cleveland. Do you want to make the top story of the day on the day of the Hall of Fame game that the league is exercising its prerogative to appeal? That's another reason why the league probably prefers that Judge Robinson would have done her thing last week, not this week. But that's what we're looking at. And by the way, if it is 6, he'll miss the game against the Panthers and Baker Mayfield. Jets, Steelers, Chargers, Patriots. We're missing one.
Falcons
here.
after
Falcons
the Steelers.
week 4
Yeah.
at the Falcons. Thursday night game against the Steelers is at home. And it'll be Jacoby Brissett, assuming he stays healthy and reasonably effective the first 2 games. So they'll have a bye week 9. They've got some tough games at the Ravens and Bengals, a Monday nighter against the Bengals for Deshaun Watson. That'll be kind of his coming out party for Cincinnati, assuming he's playing then. But again, that all assumes that it's going to be 6. I'm not ready to assume anything. We need to monitor this, and we need to wait and see what the league does, Chris.
Yeah, definitely do. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. But you're right. The owners, Roger Goodell, they haven't had their last say yet. So we'll see here in the next 48, 72 hours.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.